Recording. And hello, Sophia. Hey everyone,
Hi.
it's Darren here, doing interviews this week, giving updates on things that are happening in various industries as we all shelter in place and make adjustments as we face this COVID-19 epidemic. I want to welcome today Sophia Pony. Sophia is an agent with Farmers Insurance. Her office is in Union City, California. Welcome and thanks for being with us, Sophia.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a great pleasure to be able to be on your video and podcast and just explain everything about insurance that I can.
Yeah, and really the big thing, I'm doing these, I started doing these because a lot of questions come up. I think a lot of people have confusion about how things are working in various industries, and in particular, as people are being either furloughed or laid off or in situations where they're not able to work, various aspects of their lives are being affected. And so I thought it'd be great to bring you on and just see what you've been seeing happening with insurance as we, kind of traverse these uncertain times. So what's going on?
Well, a whole bunch is going on.
Right.
This COVID-19 epidemic has hit everybody. Regular people that have a 9 to 5 that are going out there that depend on their paycheck, small business owners that are trying to keep their business afloat, everyone. So, getting those kind of phone calls, everybody's really trying to trim the fat right now because they're so unsure of what's going to happen tomorrow or the next week, depending on their paycheck. And most of the conversations that I have with my clients, explaining the last thing you want to do is trim the liability coverage on your auto or home. Don't drop coverages. There's other things we can do. We can increase deductibles. If your car is a lot older, we can take some of the, the collision off, things like that. If you're not driving your car as much, we can do that. We don't really want to just drop coverage, because you will be driving. And if you go out there and get in an accident, you don't want this headache on you later on.
Right. And so I don't know if you've noticed this, but it seems to me, because there have been times I've had to get out on the road and there are some people driving crazy right now. In fact, I see CHP, I see on just about every freeway, mainly 580 and 880. CHP has speed traps all up and down the highway because people have been really kind of going crazy out there.
Yeah, people have a lot on their mind right now, and they're not really paying attention on the road. So, in fact, that's what I'm talking about is the main thing. You may want to actually increase your liability coverages, your bodily injury and property damage, because if you got things on your mind and you accidentally hit somebody and you only have 50,000 or whatever that coverage is, and they're still going to sue you, they're still going to call their attorney. Life is still going to happen. We're just being so distanced, doing social distancing right now. That doesn't mean we're really going to be face to face, but a lot of these kind of things, a lawsuit will still come to your door, and you don't want to have that headache on you either.
Right.
So those are my concerns. We really want to talk about still, it's the same thing, is protecting your assets. Because right now, as you see, people are kind of going a little nuts or haywire. They may think of certain ways of, how can I get in an accident, or how can I do this? And I'm really going to want to sue this person now to try to look for extra cash.
That's a good perspective on that. Yeah. I shouldn't say good necessarily. It's interesting. In fact, today, as I was driving home from going for a walk this morning, someone literally came into my lane beside me. Came very close to broadsiding me. And I'm thinking, and there's no other cars around us. I'm like, why do you need to be this close to me? And then as they got past me, then they got in front of me. But it's like you couldn't navigate up a little bit further. There's no car in front of you. You didn't have to change lanes while you were beside me. But I've just been noticing a lot of high speed, a lot of people high speed weaving in traffic. More so, maybe because there was less, maybe now that there's less traffic on the road, people are taking advantage
Right.
of these open lanes to just, floor it and like, do 90 miles an hour down the highway weaving between cars. So definitely a
Right.
good point, because you could end up being in an accident even if you're obeying the traffic laws because of someone else's bad driving behavior.
Right. So no matter what, 100%, if you rear end somebody, you're at fault.
Right.
So, and how are you going to explain that and say, well, he cut me off, I had no room. And they say, well, you have to back up, you have to keep distance, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a great time is to call your agent and speak with them and go over your coverages. Right now is a great time to do review. Everybody's at home.
Mm.
Everything that we put off, we should start looking at that. And this is a great time to review your assets. Go over your coverages and see, what do I really have? Where are things that I can trim down that make sense at these times?
Hmm.
And then again, like if you're doing something, if you're compensating for a paycheck and you're going to do Uber Eats or Grubhub, things like that, you have to have that rideshare coverage on your policy, because if you're out there, it's basically you're using your personal car for a business transaction. You're driving, doing Grubhub, and you cause an accident. Normally that's not covered if you don't have rideshare. So now you're using your car as a vehicle. Make sure you have that coverage.
Okay.
That's a great thing to think about.
Wow. All right. And then have you seen changes at all in life insurance?
Yeah, so normally when we have life insurance that has to be underwritten, which means that you need a medical, a paramed, they're going to come out to your house, or they're going to go out to you like exam one or something like that, and they're going to do in urine to underwrite you on what kind of rating for your life insurance. Because social distancing, we can't do that right now.
Right.
So what we can offer is a simple term policy or a simple whole life policy. Normally that's for people who are in good health. They have, they haven't had these type of, there are restrictions, right? So if you had a heart attack or, certain parameters, it's going to be harder, or you may not be eligible. But if you're healthy right now, the best thing is, if you don't have any life insurance, to get life insurance just in case. And normally that we can get that without we don't have underwriting for that. So you're approved within 2 days.
Okay.
And so we can get that for you. And then the next thing is, once that's approved, we can start talking about something else and get another policy in place once some of this loosens up and we can get somebody out for paramed. So
Okay.
life insurance has changed a little bit. It's just, we're just not doing the underwriting fields right now.
All right. So,
medical.
Okay. So the uncertainty about COVID-19 and that in it of itself, the virus has not, at least from the perspective for farmers, changed how they're approaching, providing life insurance. You kind of get what?
No, I mean, if you have life insurance and you pass away from COVID-19, yeah, we're going to pay. There's no exclusions in life insurance for a virus, if that's what life insurance is for.
Right. Well, no, I just thought I'd check. Yeah, I just thought I'd ask, because since this is something so new, I'm wondering if industries are having concerns, if they're talking about, these big numbers of people who could be affected and potentially die from this viral infection. Is it making life insurance companies think like, oh gosh, we could have a lot of claims if a lot of people actually do die from COVID-19? So I was curious as to whether, it's had any effect on how they're approaching issuing, life insurance.
Yeah, not to my knowledge of. I mean, I know we're going to pay if you have life insurance and you're approved, and later on you pass away from COVID-19. Yes, we're still going to pay.
Okay.
So if you have COVID-19 right now, you most likely will not be approved for life insurance.
Right. Okay.
So if you're able to hopefully recover from that and go to the doctor and get checked up and your symptoms go away, and then you can, come back and we'll do this when you're healthier. But
Right.
so, like I said, right now, the main thing that we're suggesting, or that we're able to do, is life insurance with no underwriting. So
Okay.
that's where it's, you're healthy and young and things like that. It's a little bit higher rate than a normal value term
Okay.
because there's no underwriting. But you
Okay.
still can get life insurance. We will still pay out if you pass away from COVID-19 once you're approved.
Okay. All right. What else is there for us to know with regard to how Farmers is responding to all of this? Anything else?
A lot. So Farmers, as you know, is just a wonderful, great company. And, along with everybody else, we know that it's going to be hard to pay your bills. So we have extended billing out. We suggest that if you're able to pay, still pay your normal payments, but we'll extend it out. And just remember that it will, continue to be there. We may, I believe we're waiving late fees and things like that. We're not going to cancel you, but you just have to call your agent or billing and talk to them, explain your situation and say, hey, maybe my bill's $500 this month. Can I pay $250 or $100? And they'll work with you and get this taken care of. We don't want anybody to lose coverage. That's really important for us as our client, to have our clients insured during this hard times. We understand that.
Okay.
So we are doing, working with billing. FEMA, I have seen for flood insurance, they actually gave a 90-day extension on renewals. And for their grace periods, normally it's 30 days within, the effective date, you have to pay your flood policy. So they're kind of extending that out as well. Everybody's just kind of working, even in business insurance. There's policies that where we weren't taking credit card payments. We are taking credit card payments now.
Okay.
So just trying to, do what we can and be proactive and, sensitive, of course, to the situation with everybody.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So there's also, because, California is high with fire, we, it's re-rated all the time. We've also put a pause on the non-renewals for the high fire line. So if any of our clients got a non-renewal letter effective March 4th or after, we're going to pause on that. We're not going to cancel you. We're going to reinstate the policy. So if you have any questions, again, just always call your agent and talk to them about that.
All right.
So we got a lot of stuff for businesses too.
Okay. I mean, anything that you think will be valuable to share, or?
Yeah, there's a lot. So,
okay.
So, for restaurants, so kind of like the Grubhub that we're doing for personal people, using their personal cars. So for restaurants, with our farmers clients, normally that's an exclusion because we like to have, our restaurants as a sit-down restaurant. But now we understand that can't happen.
Right.
So we're actually taking off that exclusion and allowing them to do the food delivery and for the non-owned auto. So if I'm the owner and I have my employee using his personal car, I can add that on my policy.
Okay.
So there's no exclusion. So they're covered while they're driving, delivering, their food.
Okay.
So that's really big. So like I said, on that one, I'd be happy to discuss with any of my farmers clients or anybody who's out there who needs a little bit more information on that, or they can email. And there's a few things about business insurance that is really big for my small business owners. And, one thing I really want them to know is, business owners, we are getting some kind of relief from small business loans, administration and things like that to help us. But when you have your business insurance with Farmers, most of the time on your insurance liability, it's based on your sales. So right now, we know that sales have either dropped or we're just not doing anything. We're just staying there. So what I would suggest is that you reach out to your agent and you talk to them, you update that information and once it goes back up, we can bring it back up to where it's at. And, if we're just staying the same, we'll change that. Workers' comp is another thing. So either payroll has went down or your employees, a number have went down. So you can adjust that. And even if you have 0 employees right now, you can call and you adjust it and you take the minimum for the workers' comp. And that way it allows that you don't lapse on your payments, right? So because if you lapse on your payments, it's hard to get you covered again. So we want to make sure that you bring it to the minimum and just kind of go there. And then when business starts coming back to normal, we'll bring you back up. So it's just about adjusting numbers right now. And then again, you know, on commercial auto. So if you have a truck, a van, a work van, so those are not being driven mainly, you know, right now, they're just kind of staying stagnant. What I would suggest is you drop the collision on it because it's not on the road, but you still keep the comprehensive that's going to cover you for fire, theft, or vandalism on your work vehicle. Another thing is vacancy clause. So if your office, we're not in our office, and in farmers' policies, you know, a vacancy clause kicks in automatically after 30 days if you're not utilizing your office or your building. So it's, what I would suggest is you go once a week, maybe check, grab the mail, look around, make sure your building's secure, things like that. So, and keep a small log. So you know that on this day I checked it out, I was still doing my due diligence of making sure I'm protecting my property or my office, and that it's secure, right? And you just, you know, because that will keep from the vacancy clause kicking in, because we don't want to have that. So that's really good for a lot of business owners to just check in once a week or so if they haven't forwarded their mail already to the house. You know, still just go check and just make sure everything's secure. Another thing is business property. So, you know, your inventory has either went down or it stayed the same. You can update that with your, you know, your agent and let them know that I haven't really sold anything and I'm not really getting any inventory in. So those numbers are based on your premium as well too. And once it goes back to normal, then you can update them. So those are kind of like my tips on business insurance. Those are pretty big because business insurance can be a big factor. And if we don't have employees and we're not doing any business, how do we, you know, validate paying that premium? So we just need to make sure we're proactive and change that.
Right. Well, I mean, and it sounds like the really important thing is get in contact with your insurance agent and find out what, if any, changes you may need to make to your policies, because like you were mentioning, there are some things that we often may not realize can impact our insurability, you know, given certain circumstances, if we're not staying on top of that. So those are some really good points, especially with a vacancy clause. And also, you know, you can trim down how much you're paying in insurance on vehicles that are not in use, you know, by just making adjustments to the coverage. And those may be things that right now with everything else that's going on, you know, people being worried about, is toilet paper available anywhere? You know, because it's interesting. It's still hard to find, you know. So we're preoccupied with all these other things, and these are probably details we may not think about. We might just think, okay, well, I'll just keep paying, you know, my premium, but not realizing that if my business is closed right now, it can still impact my insurance in a way that I may not be aware of. So really
like lapses, you know.
And so those are some very good insights. I mean, that was really the whole thing, the whole reason I wanted to bring you on, because again, it's those little things that, you know, we get a policy, we go over everything with you initially, and then we just start, you know, making the payments, and we just go on about our daily lives, and we may not necessarily think about going back and looking at, you know, some of the different aspects of that policy and things that may be required in order to keep that policy active. So
so there's still, you know, DMV requirements. There's still, you know, you have to have your license, you know, the insurance to be on the road. So another suggestion is, you know, if you are not driving your car at all, you know, a lot of people just want to put it on storage. And, you know, if you take it out to go get that toilet paper run just one time and you haven't, you know, updated us, there's no coverage. So
Mhm.
people really need to understand. And like I said, right now is the best time to reach out to your agent. Nobody likes to talk to us. Nobody likes to talk about insurance, but now
Right.
that you do have time, spend some time with us and let us educate, what is really going on, because this is all new for everybody.
Right.
And, I even had a client where, she closed on a home. She was, wanted to move into her secondary, but the person that she purchased it from can't go find another home right now. So
Mm.
she's actually gonna stay in there. So now that changes, it's not really her secondary property
Right. It's
if
her
she's
primary. I
gonna
mean,
rent it out to the person that sold it to her.
mhm.
So we kind of have to, if she's there for more than 30 days, we're really gonna have to change her secondary policy into a landlord policy. And that
Mm.
lady is gonna have to get a policy because of liability issues.
Right.
So,
Right.
things are not as fluid as they used to be, and
Right.
different things happen every day. And we just kind of have to ask those kind of questions, and from legal standpoints, understand what that is. And the best way, again, to understand that is to talk to your agent and to get that advice and say, hey, we were supposed to close, they didn't move out, what do I do now? Because
Mhm.
if it's in your name, and if the house catches on fire because of them, who's going to pay for that? And if they
Right.
didn't have renter's insurance, that claim might not be covered.
Right.
So,
Wow. Yeah. Really, really good point.
yeah,
All
a lot of
right.
things to
Well,
think about
as
now. I know it's
always,
kind of
just a wealth of
overwhelming.
information. What did you say?
Yes, you're so welcome. I love doing this. It's just great to educate our clients or anybody out there. If they have an insurance policy and it's hard to reach their agent, give me a call. I'll be happy to look it over and see what's going on and give you my advice, and, just let you know what's going on from home, auto, life, business, everything. We do it all.
And how can people get in touch with you, Sophia?
Yeah, so they can reach me at 669-221-7664, which is the office phone that I have here at my house. And
Okay.
my cell phone is 408-703-0070. My
Okay.
email is Sophia, Sofia, at farmersagent.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. So I'm out there on social media. Hopefully you'll see me somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Find me.
No, but, and you always have really, thorough information. I always let people know that insurance is one of the first things they need to be looking into when they're in the process of purchasing a home, because if they wait until the last minute, they got to make sure that property is insurable. They've got to make sure they know what kind of coverage, what it's going to cost. Because these are all factors that can affect even their ability to close. Because if the insurance takes them
Exactly.
over their debt to income ratio, that could be a challenge. So the earlier they look into setting up insurance for the property they're purchasing, the more the lender has in place that they need in order to make sure we're able to close everything on time. So
Yeah, and we're happy to do that. We can kick that in, 15 minutes. We'll get you that evidence of insurance and
mhm.
help you close that deal. So, we're fast and friendly on that one.
You are farmers. Okay. See, I was
Yes.
singing the
Bum, bum,
farmers
bum,
jingle.
bum, bum.
Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. No.
Yeah, there's a button. I just did it.
Right. Yeah. So, all right. Well, again, Sophia, thank you so much.
Of
Really, really
course.
appreciate you. And I hope that those of you who are watching were able to get some good information. Reach out to your insurance agents and just kind of see where things are for you so that you can make sure you have the coverages you need during this time.
Yes,
All right. All
definitely.
right.
I appreciate it. Thank you again, Sharon.
Yeah. Have a great
All
day,
right.
everyone.
Stay safe and healthy.
Yes.